I am very anxious about giving birth, given the situation that we're in at the moment. It's not ideal. She will arrive while we're on lockdown, which comes with all sorts of questions, a lot of which can't be answered. It's a scary time. I don't know what to expect, and I mean, she'll be born into a bit of history, something that she can tell her grandchildren when she grows up, but at this moment in time, it is a scary thought, really. It does cross my mind a lot of the time that we'll be giving birth in a hospital that's got confirmed coronavirus cases in it. I absolutely did consider a home birth. I've always been open to the idea, but then actually when it comes to it, it scares me. So we've never gone ahead with one so far. And my husband has very much got his reservations about a home birth, and he always has done. He sort of thinks that if something goes wrong, we're not in the right place. And I think as much as he is so laid back, he's lying down, he does worry quite a lot quietly. So that's why we haven't done one so far. But then when the restrictions started coming into the hospital and there was cases being confirmed in the hospital, we seriously sat down and thought about what would be best, staying away from the hospital and having her baby at home. And then when I spoke to the midwife about that, she actually advised that in some places they are stopping home births altogether, deeming them unsafe at the moment because they can't guarantee the midwife support would be there when it needed to be. This pregnancy has suddenly become completely different to my other two. I'd say up until about 2 weeks ago, it was quite normal pregnancy, if you like. It was quite straightforward, and then all of a sudden it's turned on its head. My ideal situation would have been a lot of family involved very early on post-birth, so I could show her off to everybody. And now, we're not potentially going to see anybody for a few months, weeks, if not months. And particularly my dad, who suffers from COPD, so he's classed in the high risk. He will not meet this little girl until she's about 3 months old. So it's really, really sad when you think about it that she won't meet her granddad and granddad won't meet her for the first bit of her life. And it's not through anybody's fault. It is what it is. But babies are so small, for such a small amount of time, they grow so quickly and they change that he's going to miss that part of her life. One of my biggest worries is that I have in the past suffered from postnatal depression of varying degrees with both boys, and have been on medication throughout this pregnancy. I'm trying to think positively about it in the fact that it will mean that we can bond as a family when I bring her home. We'll have that precious time together, but it does make it difficult knowing that potential support that I might need, particularly when Grant goes back to work, may not be there. I was so looking forward to having a photographer at the birth, for many reasons really. That initial meeting of the baby would have been amazing to be captured, and that first cry and just the emotion that comes with it would have been amazing to capture. So I'm really sad that it hasn't been able to go ahead. But I think birth photography is just absolutely amazing to capture, and I think women are so strong and so powerful that it's just a miracle that is worth every moment to be captured. I tried to stay at home for as long as I could, knowing that if I wasn't as far along as I thought, that they may tell Grant to go home or for us to come back. But she was back-to-back labour, so it was horrendous from beginning to end. And when we got there, I was only 2 centimetres, so at the beginning they were saying that Grant would either have to leave me or I was to go home, but I knew that it was going to go quick, I could tell. So he did stay, and as it happens, my waters went quite quickly, and she'd done a poo in the waters, so I knew we needed to stay to be monitored at that point. So that was a relief, knowing that he was going to be able to stay. And then the rest was really, really quick, to be honest. So I'm glad that he didn't get sent home because I think he could have missed it by that point. But then I happened to be in for 4 days following, which is the longest I've been in, because the boys, it was quite straightforward, and I had 1 night in and came home. And this one was 4 nights in, and so Grant didn't see her once. He held her for about 20 minutes when she was born, and then didn't hold her or see her again until yesterday afternoon, so when she was 4 days old. So it's the dads a lot of the time I feel sorry for with this, because they're not having that sort of first bonding experience with the baby. But obviously as well, for me it was that I was on my own with this brand new baby with no support other than the midwives, and video calling is great and we did a lot of that, but it's not the same. That's how I'd say that it was very different. The only other thing really was all the midwives were, every time they came near you, they had masks, gloves, all of the gear on. So at first that's a bit strange because you don't see them smiling at you, you don't see any expression, but they did very much put you at ease. And by the end of my stay, it sort of became the normal, and I saw past the masks, and that was quite nice, that you do just seem to get used to that. But at first it's very strange, very different. I'm just lucky that I'm 3rd time mum, so I sort of know what I'm doing. Breastfeeding's always gone quite well. I can imagine for a 1st time mum, and the support only being over the phone is just, I imagine it's so scary. It's bad enough as a 3rd time mum, so for a 1st time mum it must be awful to be a bit abandoned. I know they can't help it and they will be there if you need them, but it would be nice to have that support like you normally would, I think. So it's a hard time to have a baby, but they're worth it.
You want to give it a cuddle and hold it close, but it's very difficult. I'm sure when all this is over, we can spend plenty of time together because we're both retired.
It's frustrating, isn't it, not being able to be there all the time.
Yeah.
It's and Jo comes to ours a lot with the boys, so I think especially once Grant's gone back to work, she'd spend a lot of time with us. And we'd help with the boys and probably have the boys a lot as well. Well, she had time with just Gracie.
Yeah. Well, we'd probably go out lots of places, ice cream factories and things like that.
The zoo.
The zoo.
And go out for a meal and to Seaside, hopefully, if we're free by the summer.